Introduction. Animal Farm is one of the most famous satirical stories about the Soviet Union's strict and controlling government. George Orwell wrote this book based on events that happened before and during the rule of Joseph Stalin. Orwell believed in democratic socialism and was a member of the Independent Labour Party for many years. He often criticized Stalin and became doubtful of Stalin's system controlled from Moscow, especially after his experiences in the Spanish Civil War. The story is written as an allegory, which means it has a hidden meaning. In the story, the pigs represent the Bolshevik revolutionaries. They remove the human owners from the farm and create their own system where, at the beginning, all animals are equal. Other characters in the story also represent real people or ideas from the real world, but the comparisons are not always exactly the same as real history. Sometimes they just represent general ideas. The novel was chosen by Time magazine as one of the 100 best English language novels published from 1923 to today. About the author. Eric Arthur Blair, better known by his pen name George Orwell, 1903 to 1950, was an English writer and journalist. His writing is known for its intelligence, humor, and clear language. He wrote a lot about social injustice, strongly opposed totalitarian governments, and believed in democratic socialism. Besides being a writer, Orwell also worked as a police officer in Burma for the Indian Imperial Police from 1922 to 1927. Later, he joined the Republican side in the Spanish Civil War, 1936-1937. During the war, he was badly injured when a bullet hit his throat. After this, Orwell and his wife were accused of supporting Trotskyism and were put on trial in Barcelona in 1938 with other leaders of the POAM group. However, by that time they had already escaped from Spain and returned to England. Between 1941 and 1943, Orwell worked for the BBC doing propaganda work. In 1943, he became the literary editor of the Tribune, a weekly left-wing magazine. He was also known as a journalist, article writer, literary critic, reviewer, poet, and fiction writer, and many people consider him one of the best writers who described English culture in the 20th century. Orwell is most famous for the dystopian novel 1984, published in 1949, and the satirical novella Animal Farm, published in 1945. Together, these two books have sold more copies than any other two books written by a 20th century author. His book Homage to Catalonia, 1938, describes his experiences while fighting in the Spanish Civil War. He also wrote many essays about politics, literature, language, and culture, which are widely praised. In 2008, The Times ranked George Orwell as the second greatest British writer since 1945. Chapter 1. Mr. Jones, the owner of Manor Farm, locked the hen houses for the night, but he was too drunk to remember to close the small openings, pop holes. Holding a lantern that moved from side to side, he walked unsteadily across the yard. He kicked off his boots at the back door, poured himself one last glass of beer from the barrel in the scullery, and then went upstairs to bed, where Mrs. Jones was already snoring. As soon as the bedroom light went off, the animals in the farm buildings started moving around. During the day, the animals had heard that old Major, an important middle white pig, had a strange dream the night before and wanted to tell the other animals about it. It was decided that all the animals would meet in the big barn after Mr. Jones went to sleep. Old Major, the name everyone used for him, though his show name was Billingdon Beauty, was very respected on the farm, so the animals were ready to lose 1 hour of sleep to listen to him. Old Major was already lying on straw on a raised place at one end of the big barn. A lantern was hanging above him. He was 12 years old and had become quite fat, but he still looked strong, wise, and kind, even though his tusks had never been cut. Soon the other animals came into the barn and sat down in their own ways. First came the 3 dogs, Bluebell, Jessie, and Pincher. Then the pigs sat in the straw in front of Old Major. The hens sat on the windowsills, the pigeons flew up to the roof beams, and the sheep and cows lay down behind the pigs and started chewing their food again. The 2 cart horses, Boxer and Clover, came in together. They walked very slowly and carefully put their big hairy hooves on the ground, so they would not step on any small animal hiding in the straw. Clover was a strong and kind mare who was getting older. She had 4 babies before, and after the 4th one, she never got her old body shape back. Boxer was a very big and powerful horse, almost 18 hands tall, and as strong as 2 normal horses together. A white stripe on his nose made him look a little slow or foolish. He was not very intelligent, but everyone respected him because he was hardworking and dependable. After the horses came Muriel, the white coat, and Benjamin, the donkey. Benjamin was the oldest animal on the farm and had a bad temper. He rarely talked, and when he did, he usually said sarcastic or negative things. For example, he once said God gave him a tail to keep flies away, but he would rather have no tail and no flies. Benjamin was the only animal on the farm who never laughed. When someone asked why, he said there was nothing to laugh about. Even though he never said it openly, Benjamin cared a lot about Boxer. The two of them usually spent Sundays together in a small field near the orchard, quietly eating grass side by side, without talking. The 2 horses had just lain down when some baby ducklings came into the barn. They had lost their mother and were making small crying sounds. They walked around the barn looking for a safe place where no one would step on them. Clover carefully put her big front leg around them like a wall to protect them. The ducklings sat inside safely and soon fell asleep. At the last moment, Molly, a pretty but foolish white mare, came into the barn. She was the horse that pulled Mr. Jones's carriage. She walked slowly and proudly, chewing a piece of sugar. She sat near the front and shook her white mane to show off the red ribbons tied in it, hoping the other animals would notice her. Finally, the cat came in. As usual, it looked for the warmest place and then sat between Boxer and Clover. The cat purred happily during Old Major's speech, but did not listen to anything he said. All the animals were now in the barn, except Moses, the tame raven. He was sleeping on a stick behind the back door. When Old Major saw that all the animals were sitting quietly and listening, he cleared his throat and started speaking. He said, "Friends, you have already heard that I had a strange dream last night. I will talk about the dream later. First, I want to say something important. I do not think I will live for many more months. Before I die, I want to share what I have learned. I have lived a long life and had a lot of time to think while staying in my stall. I think I understand life as well as any animal alive today. I want to talk about that." Then he said, "Friends, what kind of life do we animals live? If we think honestly, our lives are very hard and short. We are born and given only enough food to stay alive. The animals who can work are forced to work until they are very tired. And when they are no longer useful, they are killed cruelly. No animal in England lives a happy life or gets rest after it becomes 1 year old. No animal in England is free. The life of animals is full of suffering and slavery. This is the truth." Old Major said, "Is our life hard because it is the rule of nature? Is our land so poor that it cannot give us a good life? No, friends, not at all. The land of England is very good and fertile. The weather is also good. It can produce enough food for many more animals than the number living here now." He continued, "This farm alone could support many animals, about 12 horses, 20 cows, and hundreds of sheep. All of them could live comfortably and with respect, in a way that we can hardly imagine today. So why do we still live such a miserable life?" Then he said, "The reason is that almost everything we produce by our hard work is taken away by humans. That is the answer to all our problems. It can be explained in one word: man. Humans are our only real enemy. If humans are removed, the problems of hunger and too much work will disappear forever. Man is the only creature that eats things but does not produce anything. He does not give milk, he does not lay eggs, he is not strong enough to pull the plow, and he cannot run fast enough to catch rabbits. But still he is the master of all animals. He makes animals work and only gives them a little food so they do not die of hunger. He keeps the rest of the food and benefits for himself. Animals do all the hard work. They prepare the soil and their dung makes the soil fertile. But none of the animals own anything except their own bodies." Old Major then spoke to the cows. He asked how many thousands of gallons of milk they had given in the last year. He asked what happened to that milk, which should have been used to raise strong calves. Instead, all of it was taken and used by humans. Then he spoke to the hens. He asked how many eggs they had laid in the last year and how many of those eggs became chicks. Most of the eggs were taken to the market and sold to make money for Mr. Jones and his men. Then he spoke to Clover. He asked where the 4 babies she gave birth to were. Those young horses should have taken care of her when she became old, but each of them was sold when they were 1 year old. She would never see them again. After all her babies and all the hard work she had done in the fields, the only things she received were a small amount of food and a place to sleep. Even the miserable lives we live do not last as long as they should. I do not complain about my own life, because I am one of the lucky ones. I am 12 years old and I have had more than 400 children. This is the normal life of a pig. But in the end, no animal escapes being killed. You young pigs sitting in front of me will all be killed within a year. This terrible end comes to all of us. Cows, pigs, hens, sheep, everyone. Horses and dogs do not escape either. Boxer. The day your strong muscles become weak, Jones will sell you to the knacker. The knacker will kill you and boil your body to make food for foxhounds. And when the dogs become old and lose their teeth, Jones ties a brick around their necks and throws them into the nearest pond to drown. Is it not clear, friends, that all the problems in our lives are caused by humans? If we remove humans, the things we produce by our work will belong to us. Very quickly we could become rich and free. So what should we do? We must work day and night to remove the rule of humans. That is my message to you. Rebellion. I do not know when this rebellion will happen. It may happen in a week or even in 100 years. But I am sure it will happen. Just as surely as the straw under my feet is real. One day justice will come. Keep this idea in your minds for the rest of your lives. And most importantly, tell this message to the animals that come after you so that future generations will continue the struggle until they win. And remember, friends, you must stay strong in your decision. Do not let anyone confuse you. Never believe anyone who says that humans and animals have the same interests or that if humans do well, then animals will also do well. That is a lie. Humans only care about themselves. Among animals, there must be complete unity and friendship in this struggle. All humans are enemies. All animals are friends. At that moment, there was a lot of noise in the barn. While Major was speaking, 4 large rats had come out of their holes and were sitting on their back legs listening to him. The dogs suddenly saw them and tried to catch them. But the rats quickly ran back into their holes and saved themselves. Major then raised his hoof to make everyone quiet again. Friends, he said, there is one thing we must decide. Wild animals like rats and rabbits, are they our friends or our enemies? Let us vote. The question is, are rats our friends? Most of them agreed that rats were friends. Only 4 animals disagreed, the 3 dogs and the cat. Later, it was found that the cat had voted on both sides. Major then continued speaking. I do not have much more to say. Just remember this. You must always be against humans and their ways. Anything that walks on 2 legs is an enemy. Anything that walks on 4 legs or has wings is a friend. Also remember that when we fight humans, we must not become like them. Even after we defeat them, do not copy their bad habits. No animal should live in a house, sleep in a bed, wear clothes, drink alcohol, smoke tobacco, use money, or do trade. All the habits of humans are bad. And most importantly, no animal should rule over another animal. Weak or strong, clever or simple, we are all brothers. No animal should ever kill another animal. All animals are equal. And now, friends, I will tell you about the dream I had last night. I cannot explain the dream clearly. It was about the world after humans disappear. But the dream reminded me of something I had forgotten for a long time. Many years ago, when I was a small pig, my mother and the other pigs used to sing an old song. They only knew the tune and the first 3 words. I knew that tune when I was young, but later I forgot it. Last night in my dream, I remembered it again. I also remembered the words of the song. It is a very old song that animals sang long ago, but it has been forgotten for many generations. I will sing that song for you now. I am old and my voice is rough, but after I teach you the tune, you will be able to sing it better yourselves. The song is called Beasts of England. Old Major cleared his throat and started singing. As he had said, his voice was rough, but he sang well. The tune was strong and exciting, something like the songs Clementine and La Cucaracha. The words ran, Beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of every land and clime, hearken to my joyful tidings of the golden future time. Soon or late the day is coming, tyrant man shall be o'erthrown, and the fruitful fields of England shall be trod by beasts alone. Rings shall vanish from our noses, and the harness from our back, bit and spur shall rust forever. Cruel whips no more shall crack. Riches more than mind can picture, wheat and barley, oats and hay, clover, beans, and mangel wurzels shall be ours upon that day. Bright will shine the fields of England. Purer shall its waters be, sweeter yet shall blow its breezes. On the day that sets us free, for that day we all must labor. Though we die before it break, cows and horses, geese and turkeys, all must toil for freedom's sake. Beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of every land and clime, hearken well and spread my tidings of the golden future time. Meaning of the song Beasts of England. The song talks about a future where animals are free from humans. It says that one day the animals will remove humans from power and the farms and fields will belong only to animals. The song also says that animals will no longer suffer. Things like nose rings, harnesses, whips, and hard control by humans will disappear. Animals will not be forced to work cruelly anymore. It also describes a better life for animals. There will be plenty of food like wheat, barley, oats, hay, clover, and beans. The fields will be beautiful, the water will be clean, and the air will be fresh. But the song also says that animals must work and struggle for this freedom. Some animals may even die before that day comes, but they must still work so that future animals can live freely. So the song is basically a song of hope and revolution. It encourages animals to unite, fight humans, and create a free and equal life for all animals. The animals became very excited when they heard the song. Even before Old Major finished singing, many animals started singing it themselves. Even the less intelligent animals quickly learned the tune and some words. The smarter animals, like the pigs and dogs, learned the whole song within a few minutes. Soon the whole farm started singing Beasts of England together loudly. The cows mooed it, the dogs howled it, the sheep bleated it, the horses neighed it, and the ducks quacked it. They liked the song so much that they sang it 5 times in a row. They might have kept singing all night if they had not been stopped. The loud noise woke Mr. Jones. He jumped out of bed because he thought a fox had come into the yard. He grabbed the gun that was kept in the corner of his bedroom and fired into the darkness. The bullets hit the wall of the barn. The animals quickly stopped the meeting and ran back to their sleeping places. The birds flew to their perches, the animals lay down in the straw, and soon the whole... If you enjoyed chapter 1 of the audiobook, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to hear the next chapter too.